Hello my dear fellow Star Wars fans and welcome back to another video. So this is a very exciting day. An official ingot for Skeleton Crew, a limited edition piece of merch, has just given us our first look at some of the main characters in an official capacity outside of Star Wars Celebration 2023. Now before we get into the juicy details as well as a brand new synopsis, if you've not done so already, please be sure to hit the big subscribe button down below and hit the bell to never miss an update. This channel is a very unique one-stop shop for your daily Star Wars updates. Every single day, we're talking about this amazing galaxy.
We would be honored if you would join us.
But no more jibber jabber, let's begin. Now what is very fascinating about this ingot is that right away, we have two franchises which have influenced this show. Jon Watts, the showrunner, as well as Jude Law, the main star, have spoken about the influence of Stranger Things, Goonies, as well as E.T. But a couple of the new characters indicate influence from Star Trek and Terminator. There is a droid that we have not seen before. Now let's take a look at the main cast, the children of New Republic officers lost in space. I'm going to talk about the more humanoid ones in just a moment, but look. Our first proper glimpse at what could very well be Max Rebo's child. Both in the Mandoverse, both Ortolans. And it is so awesome to get another one of this species, and this time a child. And look, such fluffy little hair. Adorable, he kind of looks like a baby elephant. I'm sure Max Rebo fans are going to be over the moon. Now in regards to this character, I've seen a lot of speculation that she is a mirror Luca. And you might be saying, well Meg, what in the galaxy is that? This is a holdover from Star Wars Legends which has come into canon. And if this was the case, if this character was a mirror Luca, this would have been an enormous week for EU fans, because the Acolyte's most recent teaser trailer showed a light whip in live action. But no my dear friends, I'm sorry to burst the bubble, but this is just a visual modification, because in the trailer shown at Star Wars Celebration she does have regular human eyes. This is just a gadget. Mirror Luca on the other hand are known for not having any eyes whatsoever. They only have vestigial eye sockets, which they kept concealed for social reasons for the stigma. And in Star Wars Legends, they compensated for this lack of physical vision with a form of foresight. This is unfortunately just a visual reference. This has certainly been a massive week for leaks via merch. The show by Jon Watts, Jon Favreau and Chris Ford is releasing in December of 2024, so this coming Christmas, just a few months away, and after The Acolyte, they're probably going to release the first teaser sometime in the fall. Not to mention, my dear friends, this show is set to have a lot of crossovers with Mando and the Book of Boba Fett. Now in terms of a new synopsis, they say this: an epic tale of friendship and determination awaits. Join these youthful characters on their grand quest to find home. Straightforward, to the point, and it's a fun adventure. Unlike The Acolyte, Mando, Andor, with this series I think it's going to be very light-hearted and less focused on Star Wars lore. Don't expect anything too deep, I would say. If there are things in there, sprinkled in Easter eggs and that kind of thing, that is just going to be an added bonus. But I think this is just going to be good, wholehearted holiday fun. In other Skeleton Crew updates, we do have some more casting reveals. Shane Allegor from A Dark Foe, Gangsterland, and Reciprocal Beat is in the first episode, in an unspecified role. And Kevin Mangold has been cast as a literal mean Rhodian. This could just be a background alien, but it could also be part of Vane's group of pirates, the survivors of Gorian Shard's group from The Mandalorian Season 3. In other Star Wars updates, excitement and, while general discussion, sometimes not as positive for The Acolyte, is starting to really ramp up with just 2 weeks to go. Some brand new information is there is going to be a world premiere red carpet event. There is expected to be more trailers and teasers, more information for the show, and that takes place in a week's time in London on the 28th of May. We've also got a couple of new promotional pictures, and on top of this, controversy continues as Star Wars fans discuss the light whip in the most recent teaser trailer, the one with Vanestra Rowe. Conversation surrounding this has gotten a little bit out of hand. When I broke down the teaser trailer myself the other day, I made it very clear that this type of weapon has existed in the expanded universe since the 1980s. And this is going to be the first time they're going to be used in canon on screen. It's impossible to know because we only got a brief glimpse at the weapon, what it's going to look like when it's fully used properly. And I suppose to an extent it shows a daringness from Lucasfilm to push boundaries of the type of lightsabers they want to see on screen. Some fans are excited while others are very apprehensive, saying this is a very stupid idea, mainly because, in universe, there is a reason the Jedi stopped using it, not just by the time of the prequel trilogy but also before the events of this show. We're going to be balanced and take a look at some of these fan opinions. And as you're going to witness, there is this kind of underlying notion that George Lucas kept the Jedi very simple, and that innovation of classic concepts isn't always the best thing. Now, one reason I would say I disagree with this take is mainly because George Lucas allowed Samuel L. Jackson to have a purple lightsaber after telling him Jedi only have green or blue, and he was never afraid to make changes to the canon. And this doesn't even change anything. This is a weapon we know is used in the comics. So, beginning with one who is critical, the lightsaber whip is such a great weapon that 100 years later, and they're talking about in The Phantom Menace, not a single Jedi is using it anymore. Lightsaber whip is lame. Doesn't matter what media it's in, or even if Lucas himself made it. Awful. And you know, if you don't like how this looks, if you think it should have stayed in the comics because you would assume maybe at first didn't translate well in the live action format, but others reinstating the reason it is so stupid that Vanestro uses a light whip is because it was mainly the Sith who used it in the expanded universe. A lightsaber whip just sounds like a bad idea, like lightsaber nunchucks. This person says, I've seen a lot of people bitching about Vanestro's lightsaber whip in the Acolyte. Light whips originally appeared in the 1980s Marvel comics and have been in many projects since. It wasn't a problem then, and it isn't a problem now. And, to be fair, if you don't like the idea, that's completely valid. And just because old expanded universe books did it and the comics did it, doesn't mean you have to love it. There are absolutely fans who love the movies and the visual content and aren't too big on the comics. Or some just pick and choose, and this just happens to be an idea some fans can't get on board with. If you're gonna cry about a lightsaber whip that canonically existed in the EU, then I don't know what to say. Yeah, I know it was used by Darkside Force users, but it looks just as cool on Jedi. We haven't seen too much in the new trailer, but I'm hoping it does too. There is always value in seeing both points of view, both sides of an argument. But for goodness sake, this was 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds max of a 30-second teaser trailer and nothing more. I want to wait and see how it's used in the context of the story of this show before I make a judgment. And you've heard me say this for most things to do with the Acolyte, because this kind of heated dialogue comes up with every single teaser, interview, you name it. The frustration that's mounted in the fandom over the last few years has come to a point. And for those who think this is a ridiculous concept, it does come from the comics. And sometimes that does come with a subversion of reality. I mean, it's literally Star Wars. It's a space opera sci-fi. I think we've seen worse things. That's my take. And if anything, this is another aspect of the action to anticipate. What do you guys think? Are you a fan of the light whip? Should it be used in canon, in live action? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this news update, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.